Games are usually very addictive and can even make a hard task exciting. So, what if I told you there is a way to make anything more fun and exciting by using games techniques? Let's see some examples. You want to run outside more often, but you lack the motivation to do it consistently. You then decide to create a challenge for yourself where you want to run 30 miles during a month. That's a mile per day, or it can be 2.5 miles 3 times a week. Because of the challenge, you are now motivated to run more often and achieve new records. In another example, you have a side project and you want to spend more hours working on it, but you end up procrastinating. So, first you define what you want to have accomplished by the end of the month. You then define the steps you need to make to achieve it and put a post-it in your wall for each of the steps so you can move them to done as soon as they are complete. You also invited a friend to work together with you in one of the brainstorming tasks. And finally, when you accomplish the goal, you will celebrate with a great meal. You are now much more motivated because you defined the goal you want to achieve, you know how you will achieve it, you are excited for the group task, and you really want to celebrate with a great meal. These are very simple and practical examples on how we can add game techniques to motivate us on our daily challenges. This is called gamification. Gamification is the use of game mechanics in things that are not games to create the same motivations that games create. Let's see if you can identify the motivations behind the following examples. You arrive to a cookie shop and there is a jar full of cookies and another one with only 3 left. From which do you want a cookie? If I told you that I have 2 hotel options but that most people choose the second one, without looking into details, which one would you be more comfortable choosing? Imagine you have to do 50 push-ups now. How motivated are you to do that? What if you had already done 950 push-ups this week and you only have to do 50 more today to complete the 1000 mark? In which scenario would you be more motivated to do it? Probabilities say that you chose the jar of 3 cookies because if there are less, it probably means they are better. We are motivated by scarcity. You would also choose the second hotel option because if most people chose it, that's probably because it's better. We are motivated by social influence. And finally, it feels good to complete a challenge and achieve a high mark. So it is easier to do it in that context than just doing it because we want to exercise. We are motivated by accomplishment. Were you able to identify the motivators in any of these examples? Gamification is much more than points, leaderboards and achievements. It is about creating the right motivators for behaviors and decisions. I always loved the concept of gamification because I am myself passionate about games. So the idea of making anything a game always excited me. But it was only when I read the book Actionable Gamification by Yu-Kai Chu that I finally understood how I could apply it. Yu-Kai created the Octalysis framework, where each edge represents a motivational drive that we have. It is so interesting to realize how these 8 core drivers define our motivation to do anything. Let's explore them. The first core drive is epic meaning and calling. This happens when there is a huge purpose behind our actions, like to save the world as we see in lots of movies. That purpose is bigger than us and that motivates us to act. One of the classic examples is Wikipedia, where there are hundreds of people working to maintain it without receiving any sort of payment. They are contributing to keep the humanity knowledge shared, and that's what drives them. The second one is development and accomplishment. This is when we feel that we are progressing on something. Points, levels and achievements are part of this core drive. Whenever we feel we have a new goal or we see progress, we become motivated to continue. This is one of the core drives that I most love in games. Reaching goals and achieving high levels really drive me. The third one is very interesting. It is called empowerment of creativity and feedback. In this one, we are motivated because we can use our creativity to solve problems. If there is only one way to win, it becomes boring because everyone will follow the same way. But if there are different combinations and possibilities, we become motivated to use our creativity to achieve the best outcome. In this core drive, the feedback part is also fundamental. We feel much more motivated when we know that we are going in the right direction. We don't like to spend hours and hours of effort without knowing if we are close to the desired outcome. Frequent feedback keeps us engaged and adjusting. The likes we receive on social media can be seen as feedback that people approve our post and that they want to see more of that. The fourth one is ownership and possession. In this core drive, we are motivated to own things. We love to receive a reward after the hard work and show it to others. This is the core drive that most often motivates us to buy expensive clothes, jewelry, art, or an expensive car. We like to feel we own things difficult to obtain. Even a discount code that no one else has feels good to have in our possession. The fifth core drive is social influence and relatedness. This one is easier to understand. It is a motivation we get by doing something together with our friends. It is that feeling of wanting to show or tell something to others. We care about other people and that power drives us in ways we can't even imagine. Interestingly, our subconscious is constantly pulling us towards what the majority thinks or does. It provides safety and comfort to our minds. The next three core drives are less friendly. Yukai calls them the black hat gamification because they may trigger negative emotions like obsession and anger. The sixth one is called scarcity and impatience. We love scarcity. This can be easily seen in art. When a great artist dies, their art becomes much more valuable. Why? Because if they are dead, they can't create anymore, which means what they left is what exists. It becomes scarce. We can also see this in games. When something is really difficult to obtain, it becomes much more valuable. Not because it has anything special, it is just because it is rare and difficult to obtain. We are also motivated by impatience. For example, you casually log into Facebook, but it is offline. You probably didn't have anything relevant to do there, but you check again and again. You want, but you can't. Impatience drives your behavior. This can also be seen in games when you need to wait for more energy or to open a reward. You know you will have it soon, but you can't avoid checking it frequently. The next one is unpredictability and curiosity. We love good surprises and the feeling that something great can happen. This is the feeling when we play in the lottery. The probabilities are really low, but the feeling that we can win is big. This is one of the main drivers of slot machines. You never know what will happen. Last but not least, we have loss and avoidance. We are not only motivated to do things, but also to avoid things. In a game, this could mean to avoid being killed by a monster and lose a lot of time and effort. I'm sure you have felt this before without realizing what was behind it, but when we dedicate a lot of time and effort, we find it very difficult to stop, because stopping would mean all the time and effort was for nothing. This can happen when we want to quit a game or simply delete our Instagram account. After all the time and effort on it, it's hard to think it was for nothing. This was a very quick overview over the 8 core drivers Yukai teaches in his book, which I 100% recommend if you are interested in learning how to apply gamification. And it can be used in so many things, not just apps or technological stuff. If you have a business, you can apply gamification techniques to create more engagement and promote the behaviors you want. The book doesn't only teach us about gamification, but it is full with golden nuggets of wisdom about human psychology and the way we think and act. It is incredible to better understand ourselves and to give us great ideas to create a better life for ourselves. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribe for more. Thank you for watching, see you on the next video.